Hello, chat. Good evening. Before we get into the dark tide, before we get into dark tide, I'm gonna do something really quickly that I've wanted to do, because I was thinking about it. Let me just pull it up real quick. So, this is this is not scripted or like mathed out in any way, but I'm here to talk about Ogryn balance, since it's sort of been up in the air with Ogren catching some nerfs here and there. And for a long time, I think Ogren was one of the stronger characters in the game, but as time has gone on, I think he's sort of been power scaled out like a intro character in a Hoyo vs. Gacha game, the first S rank, you know? To where my thing with Ogren and the other classes is a simple thing of effort versus reward. Now, to signify effort, we will be using red, and to signify reward, we will be using blue. Fucked up line, but you'll figure it out. Now, here's where once again, I'm not in the numbers, I'm not in the math. I'm going mostly off of vibes and my own experiences, and occasionally like what other people have said that I have agreed with. If you wonder what that noise was, I just cracked open a drink. My throat's still sore, so if it sounds scratchy and gross, it's because it is. So, for Ogren, just say, for Maelstrom, Damnation, all the way up to Havoc 40 or whatever, this is about the level of effort I believe an Ogren has to do to get this much reward, right? Generally, however, to play it like, probably even put it a little more accurately, I'd actually put like up here, you have to put in more effort than the reward you're getting. It's not really a 50-50. So this, like, yeah, you do get a decent amount of reward, but you have to put in a lot more effort than you get. And in comparison with characters like Veteran, who, like, I'd say effort-wise, you have to put in maybe about, like, here, and you get a lot of award just for sort of existing, because obviously you have perks like Survivalist and stuff. I'm not going to go into, like, specific builds, I'm just going across general, but I will mention, like, perks and weapons every now and then just to, like, make it clear. And then it's kind of similar vibe for Psyker. You have to put a decent amount of effort, but you get a lot of reward as the Psyker. Like, a lot of reward. And then, when it comes to Zealot, I think Zealot's, like, not a easy class to play. So I think we can put it... But the thing about Zealot is that it's got such a... Zealot... Like... How do I explain this in a better way? All of these classes have varying levels of efforts for varying levels of reward, but I think across the board, everyone does better than the Ogren. So, but for Zealot's an interesting case, because Zealot's, like, by far one of the strongest characters in the game. If not the strongest. Just across the board, like, all the Zealot builds are, like, pretty good. So I'd say for Zealot, this is not saying that Zealot's an easy character to play, but I'm just saying this is the amount of reward they get for effort. Like, I think they get a lot of reward for sort of just existing. Now, once again, this is not to say which class is easy or hard to play, because if we're going off easiest, obviously Ogryn's not a fucking hard class to play. But the thing is, now to get into talk a little more vibes about it, is all these classes have ways to be effective without having to literally, like, sweat your brains out. Although, funny to say, even though Zealot's like the sweat class. But you know what I'm saying. They all have ways to clear hordes. They all have ways to deal with, like, heavy hordes and light hordes, heavy armor. And the Ogryn... Now, once again, this is sort of like going to Ogryn's lack of weapons. The Ogryn doesn't really have all that. Like, yeah, it has decent horde clear with its guns, and it's, like, obviously can chop through poxwalkers no problem. But when it comes to heavier elite units, especially now that some Ragers have Carapace on them, it struggles immensely. Like, the best horde clear weapon for the Ogryn in terms of melee is definitely the Slab Shield, which is good, fine, and fun and dandy and all that, but it's the only weapon it's got. I'm not saying that the other weapons are bad. Well, the Shock Maul is just bad, and the knives are bad, and the clubs are okay. but like the veteran has the power sword. It has, you know, the heavy swords, the rapiers, the, you know, all sorts of things in its melee arsenal to deal with it. And so do all these, because they all got universalized, say, for like force swords and power swords, which Zealot and veteran obviously have different variants. Um, the amount of times I have charged up a heavy hitter swing on a horde, cut through some of the obviously going to cut through the chaff, only to get stopped on a Carapace Rager or a regular Rager even, it's too damn much. Like, you have to put in so much effort for this character to work, and especially because he is huge, he is slow, and he obviously, like, he has better aiming weapons now, but it's not, you know, there's some things where he just falls off really hard and like has to put in like way more resources than anyone else. Especially because like the heavy stubbers, they're nice, but they're not, you know, meant to deal with snipers. Like, you have to dedicate a quarter of a clip or get really lucky. Run Twin Linked Heavy Stubber in the shield since day one. I mean, it is a strong build. And I think it's kind of hard for me to explain this without, because obviously I'm not getting into the math here. But the Ogryn feels like he is sort of... Everyone else here fills their niche box, and the Ogryn's not invited to the lunch table, if that makes sense. Because I get it, he's supposed to be the tank. He's big, he's healthy, and that. But with the amount of things that they keep adding, like with Havoc modifiers reducing toughness regeneration, or like the grace period, I mean, Gunners just being better in general, it just feels like Ogryn has sort of fallen by the wayside, especially because his biggest issue is that he is slow. He is so slow for what he is, and to get move speed, you have to commit quite a bit of resources to get it. Because you have to get moves, because obviously it's a perk to get move speed, but then, like, you know, just after that's done, it's like, well, okay, if I don't kill something with a gun, then I'm slow as a snail. Now you may be saying, oh, but his ability, I'm like, yeah, you're right, but to dedicate an entire ability just to get a movement speed buff when it's like could be a game saver feels a bit rough. So I think like one thing they should change for the Ogryns is, one, just increase his base move speed. I know it sounds crazy, but he's 9 feet tall. He's got long legs, just a little bit. Or like increase the weapon move speed across the board. Because like he's an Ogryn, he's not going to be burdened down by these things he's carrying. He's huge. And then like maybe. This is noticeable. It feels like more and more of the melee options aren't good besides shield, because you have such a big hitbox. I have to use that shield so much when Rangers. But yeah, like the shield is really the only Ogryn cleave weapon there is. And it's... like, that's another thing the Ogryn is lacking sorely, is cleave. Like, yeah, some of his weapons do have cleave bonuses, but they still get stuck on enemy hit mass, like, really, really bad. Like, obviously the knives get cleave, but the knives aren't gonna, you know, they get stuck on Carapace. The pickaxes, they're kind of, you know, they're gonna get caught too. Like, you just bounce off Crushers with the, like, Crushers, Maulers, Carapace Ragers, you just bounce off all this stuff with the Ogryn. Unless you have, like, 5 stacks of heavy hitter, and even then, can be a bit awkward at times. So I think one thing the Ogryn needs is, hold on, let me open up a new one. Hold on, let me type this out. Ogryn needs, parentheses, IMO. Whoops. Easier access to cleave. More movement speed. Suppression. Immunity. He should have wider swinger. Yeah. Rework some weapon patterns. And you shock all. And like these four things, I think, would really help the Ogryn out a bit. Now, I could, once again, this is not going on math. This is just going off pure vibes. If I have over 1,000 hours in this game, I play like 80-90% of it as Ogren, and it's just, yeah, the amount of time is just, it's too damn much. Especially because he's so, he's big. He's big. Big steps. And especially if they're going to keep buffing Gunners, he needs these things, especially these two if they're going to keep buffing Gunners. Should have a wider swing, way more base melee damage. Seriously, he's a 10-foot tall gorilla. He should be cleaving hordes like they were weeds. It's true. Some melee damage buffs could be nice. I think and also range weapon buffs too. Buffs. Lucky bullet. Less of an ammo hog. I don't want to take kickback every time I want decent ammo. I love the other Ogryn weapons, but they chew through ammo like nobody's business. So either give them a bigger ammo pool or make them get more ammo back, just off rip. I'm not talking off the big bags. The big bags give 50% ammo. That's fine. But have them get a little bit more ammo back from the small stuff, or give him more ammo-based feats, especially in his shooter build. Who takes Lucky Bullet? Who? It's so bad. Lucky Bullet gives you maybe one bullet back for every 24% of a magazine fired from a heavy stubber. It's absolutely just horrendous. Make it a percentage thing. Make it 8% ammo back or something like that. That way there's actually value to it. Worst enemy for me to deal with are Ragers. I block with a shield and spam heavy block attacks because they hit faster. It's ridiculous how ineffective he is at melee, no matter the weapon. It is true. He has heavy hitter, which is fine. I'm gonna kind of add more room for me to type here. Heavy hitter is fine, but he shouldn't need it to do damage. I don't want to take heavy hitter every time. I like heavy hitter. I want to play with the other perks. Just rework, feel no pain. Make it usable. Either rework or can't type. Or replace Lucky Bullet. It's borderline useless. And the thing is, I don't know what they could do to change the Ogryns. I don't know I don't see their numbers. I just know that Ogryn playtesters are sinners. That's for sure. Oops. Hooray. I don't know. Just, he needs, as I said, more access to cleave, more movement speed. He's big. He should be, Tanner Lindbergh said this, Ogryns should be the fastest base speed character in the game. And I'm inclined to agree. He is so slow, especially for the amount of ranged weapons he is. Ogryn feels like he was built for a game like Vermintide, and then they were like, oh wait, Darktide's going to be mostly a shooty game, not a melee game. And it's just oh man, release me from this prison. So yeah, these are all the things I'd like from Ogryns, in my most humble opinion. And that's pretty much it. Once again, I'm not digging into the math. I don't feel like digging it. I know that, and I don't read the Ogrynomicon. Do not read it. Do not look at it. It is like the baby's first Ogryn. It is really nothing special or anything to pay your attention to. It is not. Ogryn playtesters, you will burn in hell for what you have done, metaphorically. His slow speed is absolutely ridiculous compared to how fast his bull run. Yeah, it is. It's literally, it's... I don't want him to, like, zoom across the map in 5 seconds, but I should be able to, like, keep pace with the Zealot, with it, like, at least, you know? Like, unless the Zealot has a knife. If the Zealot has a knife, obviously they're going to run. But, like, if a Zealot's walking with his flamer out, why am I slower than him when I've got my knife out? It's crazy. Anyway, that's the end of this little rant. It's, you know, feel free. I'm going to post this separately as a video. Feel free to roast me in the comments if you wish, but this is just, you know, this is how I see it. This is what I have seen. Anyway,